So every year, there are school teachers who will tell our students, hey, you should drop bio as a subject. You should maybe drop altogether, or maybe you should drop from pure bio to combined bio. So how do you know whether you should take that advice or maybe you should persevere through? So I'm going to show you the scenario where it is wise to drop it. When should you give it up? Okay, and then what kind of students should not give it up? So let's start with the one for dropping it. So you should drop bio, pure bio, if you are never going to take bio ever again in future stages of education. So like in poly or in JC or in university, even your uni mods, right? You're not going to take in bio in any of them. Then it makes sense that you don't need bio anymore. If you are so sure of your future career is not going to use bio, then also you can consider, okay, even if I drop, it won't have too big of an impact on my future studies and my career path. However, most of us don't actually know what career path we want to get into at this stage, so this might only apply to a small proportion of you who are very sure. Okay, next is you ask yourself, if I continue taking this subject, would it negatively impact my L1R4 or L1R5? You might be thinking, even if I do badly, how would that impact my L1R4 or L1R5? Because they choose the better subjects, right? So if you have a few subjects competing, like for the science subject, then whichever is the highest, even if bio is bad, that doesn't hurt my L1R5, right? So you might be thinking that way. But if you spend so much time, energy, effort into bio that you have to suck up the time and effort to study the other subjects just to make sure this subject doesn't fail, then you are going to steal time and basically you're stealing the grades from your other subjects. So it might also be a wise move if you know that this subject, just to keep it afloat, right, is taking way too much time, effort, and it will take away time from studying the other subjects, then perhaps it is wise to drop it, even though you have less subjects, but at least you can focus more time on them and then increase the grades for them. Okay, and then the last criteria, how to know whether you should drop it, is that you have tried getting help for this subject. So try our free notes, download our free notes. Even though it's free, doesn't mean it's not good. Okay, in fact, students say, oh, I thought, because it's free, maybe it'll not be that good. But once they open it, they're like, oh, I should have used this earlier. It really helps them and saves them a lot of pain. So the free notes link is going to be in the description of our video as usual. And try our memory shortcuts, because a lot of students, they feel like, bio is so content heavy, I can't memorize. They have this misconception that they are bad at memorizing. So the thing is, you're not bad at memorizing, you've just been using bad methods. So use our good methods, use the memory shortcuts, they're available in our notes. You can also find the videos on our YouTube channel. We have playlists on memory shortcuts as well. Okay, then once you realize you've tried getting help, maybe you've even attended some of our lessons, our tuition lessons, and you realize you don't have the minimum ability needed. Okay, what is this minimum ability? Imagine you are a primary school student. You are not even P6 yet. Let's say you're primary 1 to 3. Then you are thrown into a class where you have to do Sec 4 algebra. Okay, you are probably gonna lack the minimum ability needed. Firstly, you're just not old enough, maybe your brain is not developed enough yet. Okay, and it's also the years of experience that you don't have with math. And you lack also the foundational concepts in math. So if you were to be thrown in such a class, even though you may work very hard, you are still likely going to be lost all the time, and that's simply because you don't have the minimum ability needed. Of course, there's some exceptions, right? There's some math geniuses that even from a young age, they have this minimum ability already, so they can learn it, right? So it's about asking yourself, even if I work very hard, I work very smart, I use the best resources, I get the best help, but because I just lack this minimum ability so badly, even though I use all the good methods and I work hard, I will still fail. Okay, so that's the question you gotta ask yourself. Do I really lack the minimum ability? Okay, now here's the good news for most people. Most students, what I've realized is that they don't lack the minimum ability needed. In fact, bio is one of the easier subjects, and I say that because you don't have to really think so hard of there's complex math involved that could make the question more complex for chemistry and physics. But for bio, the math is usually very easy. Okay, that is involved in the questions. And then what else? Well, bio, it is quite copy and paste. Once you find what are the commonly asked questions, and we have made notes for that for our students to study, then you just copy and paste the answer key into most of the questions. Some questions are just exact copies from past years, even easier. Okay, for application questions, yes, that is more difficult in bio, but still you can copy the answering phrases and still use them in the application questions. So there's a lot of overlap. Okay, that makes bio easier. Bio is also more straightforward in that sense that once you understand it, there's not much else to it. It's just once you understand it, okay, good. Then answering the questions is much easier once you have the content foundation. So the level of difficulty of questions is usually easier than other subjects like chemistry and physics. That's why I find that most students have the minimum ability needed. What they lack is good teaching, good notes and resources, good memory methods. So because of these, right, they think that, oh, I suck, I am not smart, I am dumb. Actually, they are more than intelligent enough, and they just lack the good teaching methods. That's why they think that they have a problem. They're like, oh, it's me, it's a me problem. Like, I just cannot memorize. Okay, but they just have been using bad methods. Hey guys, today's sponsor of the video is me. As of making this video, ThatBioTutor is Singapore's only O-level pure bio specialist. You mean you don't teach any other subjects or syllabus? Yup, that's how we've been able to make so much resources just for your syllabus. Example, concise notes without all the extra fluff. Commonly asked questions that come out under every topic, so you know the exact keywords and phrases to score full marks. Didn't pay attention in class? Crash course clips to the rescue. We've recorded explanations for every concept under every chapter. Find bio a chore to memorize? Flashcards on your phone, which makes it feel like a game. So if you need help with O-level pure bio, what are you waiting for? Click the link below this video or go to ThatBioTutor.com. Now back to the video. So those are the students who should drop, okay, if you don't even have the minimum ability needed, which is a very small percentage of students. Right now, here's how to know if you should not drop it. Okay, because a lot of teachers, they always say to their students, hey, drop the subject. Or, I received a message recently from a student's mom who said, his teacher is disappointed that he didn't submit the homework for some time. And then she hinted to the student that maybe you should drop bio. Okay, but this guy scored B3 in his recent WA, which is not bad. So he definitely isn't such a lost cause that he should drop the subject. No, I feel like this maybe was just because the teacher was annoyed at him, rather than the teacher really means for him to drop it. Okay, and sometimes teachers will say this, like, maybe you should just drop the subject, because I have seen many students say that to me, that their teachers have said that. But it could be that the teacher is just kind of fed up, doesn't want to deal with you, or like, it's like, this student is too weak, in the subject. I don't want to have to bring them from where they are in the weak content foundation, because I have to answer a lot of their questions to bring them up to someone who can score a decent grade. So maybe they're just not willing to put in that high level time and effort over the months. So they're like, you just drop. Then, it simplifies everything for them, right? The teacher don't have to worry, you don't have to worry about the subject. Yeah, so I think that's why it's kind of like an easy way out to just tell the student, just drop the subject. Okay, but I think why I don't like this is that it makes the student feel like they don't have the minimum required ability needed. And then it really hurts your self-confidence as a student. So in your future stages of education, you're also going to play it small. You're always going to be like, well, last time I had to drop bio because my ability isn't that high. I'm just not smart, okay? I'm just not good. I just cannot memorize. I'm just not smart. Then you tell yourself these kind of limiting beliefs, and for the rest of your life, you will play it small. And even in work, you'll play it small because you're like, I can't be in the higher roles, because I'm just not as smart. Yeah, but maybe all this was a lie. Okay, and I really hate it when student self-confidence is kept like that at an artificial limit. So that is why I don't like it when teachers say that. Okay, and I want to give you one example of a student who is, her name is Zero from 2024. She was my student. Okay, and she started out way worse than quite a lot of students, like at E8 in prelims. Okay, and she went to A2 in O-levels. Then she had, consistent C's or worse in Sec 3. Okay, and even though Sec 3 is supposed to be the easier year, right, than Sec 4. And then her teachers wanted her to drop the subject. Okay, and guess what? During lessons, during class, when I ask questions, she would often answer questions, So it means she listens, she understands the subject, she's understanding the content, and she's able to answer the questions. Then when I walk around the class, like sometimes she will ask, hey, just now I had a doubt about this thing, then she'll clarify the doubt. So she's obviously listening, she's engaged, she's understanding the subject, she confirmed have the minimum ability required. So when she said about how her teacher said to drop the subject, right, then I was just so confused. Like, why would you ever drop the subject? Like, you're improving, you understand it, you're more capable than average. Yeah, I think she was more capable than average also. Why in the world would you drop this? Right? It makes no sense. So she's just one example, and I'm very glad in the end she got A2. So the moral of the story, okay, is even if your teacher says to drop, you probably have the ability. Because those students who don't have the ability is usually a small percentage. So how you can test this is go to some actual good teaching. You can see some of the mini crash courses on our YouTube channel. You can attend one of our lessons. You can read our free notes, see the memory shortcuts, and then ask yourself, when I experience good teaching with good methods, do I understand the subject? Okay, and then is there hope? And I think most of you will realize that, oh yes, there is hope. Okay, and that's exactly why I started ThatBioTutor. Because I want people to see that bio is a rather easy subject when you have the right help. Yeah, I don't want students to see that it's a chore. I want them to see that it's actually an enjoyable subject. Yeah, so I hope this video calms your fears. If your school teacher ever said this to you, it's likely just that they were having a bad day or they were annoyed. It's likely not the case that you lack the ability. Hey guys, if that was helpful for you, then subscribe to our channel. If you'd like to join our O-level pure bio tuition classes, click the link below or go to thatbiotutor.com.